I want to make this very clear. LA Knight is a clown, and so are his fucking fans. Welcome, everyone, back to another episode of the Wrestling Is Now Shitty podcast. Dr. Legend, joined as always with my esteemed colleague, Midnight.
Dr. Legend, get the tables.
How you been, buddy? You watch any good wrestling this week?
Yeah, I watched a really good episode of Raw. I caught a little bit of Dynamite, and I was trying to watch NXT. I just never got around to it because I was watching a couple of other things on Peacock. So, but yeah, it was a pretty good week in wrestling. How about yours?
Oh, I watched some good stuff, and people have been watching us. Our subscriber numbers are up. I know we mentioned before in the show that our goal was to hit at least 100 before the year's end, and we are over halfway to that goal. I know it seems small and minute to a lot of the other channels there, but it's big for us. We're so happy to have you guys on board. So if you guys love the stuff that we do, please like, share, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. And if you guys have any questions about the program, wrestling in general, that you would like us to answer live on the show, please send us an email to winspodcastlive@gmail.com, and we will gladly answer part of our show. But we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about here. We're going to dive right in, turn on that Boomertron, and let's get cracking. Okay, this is a relative new story, but I really wanted to talk about this. Titus O'Neil responds to criticism of WrestleMania being held in Saudi Arabia. Now, this is a long diatribe. I don't want to read it word for word, but I will take the best clips out of it. And he says, I can say this because I've been to Saudi Arabia several times now. I feel safer in Saudi Arabia than I do most places, or a lot of places in the United States. I think the biggest difference between places like overseas in Japan, Saudi Arabia, Middle East, all those places, and the United States are morals and convictions. They actually live by theirs, whether you like them or not. They're going to pray 5 times a day. They're going to stop during the day. They're going to do their thing no matter who likes it and who don't like it. You don't hear about mass shootings in Saudi Arabia. You don't hear about mass shootings in China. You don't hear about mass shootings in Japan. I think if people went over to Saudi Arabia or had a chance to go, their views would change dramatically. And I'm not saying they all get it right, but we don't all get it right either. But to be pointing fingers at anybody. So I'd rather go as a performer where I'm going to be celebrated, not tolerated. And it's going to be a first-class experience for everyone that chooses to come to the show. First and foremost, the people complaining about the show being over there would never book a ticket to go over there. Watch the show on TV. It's going to be a spectacle. Okay. All right. There's a lot to unpack here, but I think Titus O'Neil has missed the point of this. People are not angry that WWE is in Saudi Arabia because they can't go over there. People are mad that they're going to Saudi Arabia because they're going to acquiesce to what Saudi Arabia wants, okay? He's making all these claims about Saudi Arabia, and you know what? For that point, he is absolutely right. Yeah, it is a lot safer there. Yeah, there's no mass shootings there. But do you know why? Because they're a monarchy. There is no Bill of Rights. There is no Declaration of Independence or anything protecting the citizens. They live under a religious law. Whatever the Quran says, they go by, okay? Here's a little sneak peek for all the people out there. Midnight and I, we're both Arabic. We've hung around a lot of Muslims in our day. We know what they're like. We know what's hanging out with them like. We've been around them. We had a lot of friends growing up who were Muslim, okay? But being here and being there is way fucking different, okay? I would love to see Titus O'Neil do more than just perform there. Let him spend a year in Saudi Arabia and see how it likes. Because the big thing about having a WrestleMania there is not just the show, it's everything outside of it. It's the experience, the fan access, hanging out with other wrestling fans. You can't do the same things in Saudi Arabia you can do in the US. Midnight said it last week's show. Oh, you can't drink. You can't smoke there. But guess what? If you commit a crime there, they don't fuck around. There is no court of appeals. You steal something, or you think they steal something, they cut your fucking hand off. End of story. They hang people in the street. Public executions are a thing there. So, yeah, it is safe there, but you pay a lot for that safety. So, let me ask all the people in the IWC and Titus O'Neil, are you willing to give up your freedoms for that safety? Because if so, there's your fucking airplane and ticket to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think he actually made a couple of really good points about, I think the general point, and to not get political, is that there's this notion that like America is perfect and that we're angels and that we do everything correctly. And we know that's not true. And we also like to point fingers at Saudi Arabia and say everything about Saudi Arabia, they do things that are bad. Well, guess what? Not everything about Saudi Arabia is bad. He highlighted some things about how there's kids at 1 a.m. playing at the beach. Remember when we were 15 and 16 and we went to Spain and our dad let us go out until 3 a.m. And it's like, yeah, go out till 3 a.m., go out with your cousins, go drink, go do whatever you want. You're safe here in Spain. Same thing in Saudi Arabia. So I think he makes interesting points. I think that's an interesting point, but I don't know if he quite understands that people are not mad that WrestleMania is in Saudi Arabia necessarily because they don't agree with Saudi Arabia's politics. I think they're just mad because they would much rather have some access to WrestleMania, even if they can't necessarily afford it. Maybe they want to afford it or they want the opportunity to go, and they feel like they're just kind of like selling out to Saudi Arabia. And that once again goes to the fact that TKO. Like remember, Endeavor bought the UFC, right? And now it's called TKO Holdings. But you have to understand is that 10% of that is still owned by the Saudi Arabian company. So there's still money in Saudi Arabian money in WWE. So there's that conflict as well. But as far as I'm concerned, is I'm glad that he actually made that statement because there was things that I think needed to be said. But it just comes down to the point that it just feels weird that it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I 100% agree because, like we had mentioned, that this is going to be the death of WWE because Saudi Arabia has a lot of demands. I mean, fucking hell, they asked for Yokozuna to perform at their first show, not knowing he'd been dead for decades. Like,
Well, they make the women cover up and stuff like that, like to wear bodysuits.
if
Like,
guys, I don't think you really understand the point I'm hammering home. Saudi Arabia is going to make the PG era of WWE look like the Attitude Era, okay? They are going to cut and change so much stuff on there. It's unbelievable. I'm not talking about the WrestleMania show. I'm talking about the future when they hold more shows there. They make more demands because it's not profitable to do it in the US anymore. And when they start losing all those fans, guess what? They're going to acquiesce to whatever the fans are paying money to do and to see their shows. But that's a
what do
topic.
you what changes do you think they're going to make?
They're just gonna demand like be more PG. Don't talk about sensitive subjects or topics or whatever and things like that. They're gonna make drastic cuts because they just want to see the superstars, but they don't understand the stars that they love and they cheer today are made popular and thrive with the Western audience. And when you don't have that audience and you just build them there in Saudi Arabia and have them there, eventually the spark's gonna fucking drain out and they're not gonna have anything to do there. And it's gonna die a slow death and it's gonna suck. Because again, imagine how we lived through the PG era of WWE and it was fucking terrible. And they had to and it's gonna be the same thing. Okay, they can't show certain things on their programming, and the women being fully covered up is absolutely one of them. Like it's, and the women hate doing it. They won't admit it because they don't want to be not booked on the show. It's going to make a ton of fucking money. And this reads like Titus O'Neil is hoping to be booked on the show, even in a commentator capacity, because he's making the statement. But either way, I feel like, yeah, you're right. He does make some great points. I think he does, but I just don't think he understands what the wrestling fans' irk is with this decision. He's just saying, "Oh yeah, they don't like it because he's in Saudi Arabia." I was like, "I like it because I feel safe there." Like, no shit, of course.
Yeah, he's missing the point, and I think that's the point of this post is, yeah, he's just not getting it, and that's one of those things. A lot of these wrestlers don't quite understand the fans. It's really interesting to see that.
Yeah, let's go switch over to some positive news. So On the Busted Open podcast, they made a definite post to talk about, is Bron ready to be quote unquote the guy? And I thought this was interesting. I'm gonna let Midnight take the reins here. So what they talk about on this?
Well, let me preface this by saying that I was of the opinion last week before Raw that I didn't know if Bron Breaker was ready. And what they talk about here, what Nemeth and Bubba Ray talk about, is how on Raw they did a very, very good job of really building up Bron Breaker. The first thing that happened on Raw was you saw the belt out of the limo, and you don't know who's in the limo, but you see the belt. And then out who comes out with the belt? Bron Breaker. I mean, this is Paul Heyman's booking 101. Like there's like a scene from like ECW where he's pumping up Rhino. He's like belt Rhino, Rhino belt, belt Rhino, and now he's belt Braun, Braun belt, belt Braun. And what they end up talking about is how this is a golden opportunity for Braun, and even though maybe he's not ready, maybe he is. uh, the timing is perfect for him. It's kind of like Brock Lesnar in 2002, where it's just like, you know what, we're losing stars. We're kind of on the downturn. We've got this new guy. Let's just put him in and let's see if he can take the ball and run with it. And they talk about how his association with Paul Heyman is going to help him as it did with that promo on Raw. And they talk about how they think Saturday night's main event is going to end, which we'll get to later. But overall, they feel like he might be the guy, and that it's just the perfect opportunity. With Seth going down with an injury, there isn't a better opportunity for him. I mean, everyone recalls, Tom Brady was the backup to Drew Bledsoe. Bledsoe goes down, Brady wins the Super Bowl. So you never know. Maybe Braun's going to headline. Maybe Braun wins the Rumble and takes the title at WrestleMania. Who knows? I mean, sky's the limit for this guy. He looked like $1 million on Raw. This guy's a star in the making.
Would you be upset if last two in the Rumble, Braun and Punk?
No, as long as Punk gets the main event, like maybe somehow, I don't think I would be upset. But um, right now, I think that they're relying too much on, like, even though I love Punk, he's 46, 47 years old. Braun's young, and after this week on Raw, I'm genuinely hyped for this guy. I've always loved him, but now I'm like, wow, he may end up being champion sooner than we think. So I'm like, wouldn't hurt my feelings.
I mean, I love Bron Breaker. He's fun to watch. Forms well in the ring. He has the look. He has charisma. Has that aura presence to him. The only thing I think is kind of holding him back a little bit, and it's unfortunate to say, I think his size for his stature. He's got the Steiner size, but he acts in the capacity as if he were the size of Brock or Goldberg. And with the size of the current roster of the WWE, it totally works. So he should run with that. Do I think he's ready to be the guy? I'm always a fan of slow builds. I just don't want them to see. I don't want to see Braun go down the Roman Reigns where he gets the rocket strapped to his ass and they push him too soon. People get tired of him and they don't want to see him anymore because when you have that belt, it's a big fucking target on your back. You are the guy. You are the one, the face of the company. You are the best of the best holding this thing. And I think Braun is certainly qualified to be in the main event scene. I think he just needs to develop that character a little bit more, get the fans behind him. I don't know if it's as soon as WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania is what, 6 months away, almost a little less than 6 months away. So there's plenty of time to do it and to build him up and get him ready for that role. They need to do it properly. If they do it properly, I think it'll work out fine. But they got to develop it. Like right now, I think this division breaking up. They were planning that for next year, and they had to do it. So perhaps Braun's big win wasn't going to come until WrestleMania 43. I don't know. So I worry about it, but we'll see.
Well, how likely do you think Braun is going to become a star? Like, do you think this guy is actually going to be a star, or are you on the fence, or what are you thinking about him?
I totally think he's going to be a star. He can talk. He's proved it. He can move in the ring. He's not injury prone, which is a great thing for being a but my only hesitation about the whole thing is about the build, because even you can be the best looking guy, the best working guy, the safest guy in the ring, the best, everything. But if there's no story built around it, then what fucking point? Like, honestly, I'm a big Psycho Sid fan. I think he looked fantastic in the ring, cut menacing promos and whatnot, but his stories always sucked. He was always chasing and beating down smaller guys and whatnot, and it never fulfilled his ultimate potential. And I don't want to see the same thing happen to Bron. I think he deserves a lot better. Got a great lineage to fall back on, and he moves in the ring. He's adapting and creating his own unique style and presence in the ring. So he has the potential to be there, but they need to develop.
Well, do you think that maybe he's on like the Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar path, where like Kurt Angle, they literally took the belt off The Rock and gave it to Kurt Angle less than a year in the business? Kurt Angle, like less than a year in the business period. Do you think that was too fast, or what do you? I don't know. Just spitballing here.
Kurt Angle had everything. Kurt Angle is the best in-ring performer WWE's, bar none. Like, I know it's a bold move to say it. I think Bret Hart's matches look better than Kurt's because Bret Hart was a vicious worker and he looked tough, made the fights look real in the ring. But as far as just pure work and pure athleticism, nobody beats Kurt Angle. I think people saw that when they watched his matches, because Austin didn't move and wasn't booked the same after his neck injury. The Rock was really, really good. He could move, and he was the best talker of the year. Triple H worked and moved good. Kurt Angle had it all. He talked so well, flowed in that ring, and the best part, when he beats you, and I think the same thing can be that Braun can fall back on. I don't want to see him go into any kind of hijinks. I thought the move for him in the Vision was a step back because wacky, so they didn't have time to build him up to be in this spot because with breakup angle, because it happened too soon. So I think the parts are moving too fast.
So you think it's too fast, and I think, and I'm hoping that he's having a meteoric rise. So I guess we'll see. One of us might be wrong. One of us is going to be wrong, and one of us is going to be right. So we'll see.
If they slow down and book him properly, I think it'll work. But right now, it's.
Do you think? Do you
because
think
they'll turn on him?
Do you think he should wrestle for the belt at WrestleMania?
That's a loaded question because we're so far removed from WrestleMania. I don't think we should really be thinking about that until the Rumble. Let's see what happens after Saturday night's main event, because there's like two competing storylines going on here. We got the Bloodline imploding, and then we had the Vision standing out, and then Punk's floating around in the middle ground somewhere with LA Knight kind of jerking them off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next story. All right. So, reports are in that WrestlePalooza's buy rate was worse than fucking ECW One Night Stand 2006. It's been reported that new subscribers to ESPN Plus were only between $100 to $125,000. Now, this was a $1.6 billion deal for 5 years. That means they need to generate about $325 million per year in order to make this financially viable, which means they need about $3 million per month, $30 million per month to make this viable, which means 1 million subscribers about. Okay, 1 million is the magic number. They got a tenth of that, and holy crap, the ESPN buy a fucking lemon here.
I would have to disagree with you here, because you have to understand is I was already an ESPN subscriber, and I'm not counted in this statistic. And how many people were going to watch WWE that already had ESPN? That's just an impossible figure to actually pull up. Okay. And secondly,
were you a subscriber? I was a subscriber too, back when they packaged the deal with Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN. It was like $18 and I packaged it all together. But when they pulled out and made it $30, when was that? Was that before WrestlePalooza or?
They just launched that 2 months ago.
Exactly. So yeah, you were subscribed, but people were subscribed for cheaper, not for this $30 a month. And
Well, go ahead.
I think these numbers are telling, okay, because the price tag was too high. Absolutely, you can't make people pay $30 when they were paying $10 the month before. You can't triple the price on something and not deliver triple the quality product. And even though you were saying, yeah, you get so much more with ESPN, that's not how the WWE consumer looks at it. They're only there to watch wrestling. So the new subscribers here that join in may not have joined for all the ESPN. They said, okay, I just want to watch WrestlePalooza. I want to watch WWE. And this is what they got.
Well, I definitely not the figures that ESPN was hoping for, but you also have to understand is that the number, like when you sign this big of a deal, first of all, they coupled it with raising the rates on ESPN Unlimited and bundling it with their entire unlimited package. So what they're trying to do is get away from cable and get everyone to pay them directly, which is a move that's going to generate more revenue. And also for them to have WWE, it gives them an opportunity to charge more and to gain more sponsors. You don't think that WWE sponsors are going to go to ESPN and go, okay, we're now going to give you our dollars because they all work together in this.
They put fucking commercials on a PLE for the first time ever, as if the $30
Yeah,
wasn't bad enough.
and that's the point,
And you only
right?
got $100,000 for it. You got $3 million for good. Congratulations. I hope it was worth it. Spend it in good health.
So I'm doing my best Dave Meltzer defending AEW bit here. So just allow me.
You know what?
To
No.
continue, please.
Go in the kitchen, get yourself a fork and knife, and eat some crow here, okay? Because on our first episode, you defended this bullshit, and now look at it.
You've got me there on that one. I tried the Dave Meltzer AEW defense and it just didn't pan out. All right. Didn't pan out, but we'll see, we'll see after a year.
I wonder if their lawyers are looking at a way how they can get out of this deal. I wonder if you know what? They should have set sub limits on there. Like you have to generate X number of subs to our product every month or whatever with a minimum maintain or whatever, or they can cancel the deal. Because if not, WWE just fucking got away with it, and then 5 years are gonna be tough, boys.
Dude, I'm telling you, Netflix, like they should have went with Netflix because see, Netflix almost got the UFC deal, but they only wanted the premium stuff, and then Netflix wanted the premium stuff and Raw, but they didn't want to pay an extra 1.6 billion. So like, I bet you WWE and UFC are like, man, I wish we were on Netflix because going to ESPN and Paramount, I don't know if that's the best move for them. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. Well, now, Jey Uso is the most downvoted superstar of the year. The top 3 most disliked videos on WWE's YouTube channel are Jey Uso becoming the world champion at WrestleMania 41, Jey Uso defeating Austin Theory in 1 minute, and finally, on Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso winning the Raw Battle Royal. Now, I had mentioned before that I'm not a big Jey Uso fan, but I understand the appeal. He appeals to children in the same way John Cena does. And they look at his appeal in the exact same way. They go to the arena, they see who's buying the merchandise, who's doing the moves, and who's doing the chants. But that does not make you an internet darling. Now, Jey Uso has got a ton of problems. We've talked about him at length of some of the stuff he's done and not done, and I still think he's dangerous. I still think he looks sloppy in the ring. I still think he's not the undisputed championship material. And let's be real, the world championship belt is the new Intercontinental Championship. It's the mid-card world title. No matter what you call it, they call it the world title, but we all know it's not. But I totally understand where the anti-Jey Uso heat is coming from. It definitely feels like a lot of people are claiming nepotism. Oh, your name is Fatu, you get pushed out the ass. I mean, I don't think that is necessarily the case. I mean, the kids love him. The audience in the arena, they go crazy for this guy when he's there. But it doesn't translate to video views and everything. And there's this dichotomy right now that's existing, and it's breaking open. It's splitting open. It's not just a hairline fracture more. This is a Grand Canyon level split between the IWC and the marks in the arena. And that's something we're going to touch upon later. I don't want to dive too deep into it. But I think at surface level, this right here, this split with Jey Uso is right on the mark. And one thing absolutely right. Do the fans have it right? I don't know. You're allowed to cheer and hate whoever you like. But can't deny that this guy gets cheered in the arena. It's literally happening.
And he's selling merch too.
Yeah, and it's
I mean, you said it yourself. You said it yourself. He's selling tickets, he's selling merchandise, and he's getting the fans to respond to him. So they're going to push him. The one thing I think they did do is they pushed him too early, too quickly. That's my only thing. They really needed for him to win the Rumble in the middle of the Roman, Seth, CM Punk mess. To me, it just created more problems than it solved. And I think you're getting the Roman Reigns effect. They just pushed this guy a little bit too hard. Even though he's still getting cheered, he's still not quite there yet. He's still a tag team wrestler. Like, look at Shawn Michaels. He was a tag team wrestler most of his career, and it took him 4 years in singles competition before he finally got that world championship opportunity. So once again, they just pushed him a little too hard, too fast.
And this guy has the aura of Roman's brother. And sometimes you like cheering the sidekick. Yeah, you know what? Robin, Dick Grayson got super popular, sometimes even more than Batman did. And that's totally fine. It happens, but you're never going to replace the original. Jay's got to break out, become something his own. I love the storyline they're doing. I think that's a step in the right direction. And in fact, if they had done that during his push before he won the world title, it would have helped him immensely. You got to build a story around this. Like, make us believe something, even for as sloppy as he is. If you build the story around properly, I think it's okay. I think it could be fine. But right now, look, you're not a big media darling in the eyes of the IWC, but at the end of the day, fucking cares. Not stopping his push. He's still there. He's going to be kicking ass and being in your main event scene for quite a while. So until you hear those yeets turn to boos, better buckle up, boys, because this is going to be a long ride.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how this one plays out.
All right. Okay, moving on to our main event. Saturday night's main event is 1 week away, and we've got 3 matches on the card. I know it says 2, but they added another one. And we're going to go through our predictions today. First of all, the match that got announced last night or tonight during SmackDown, Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton, in a move that reads, we are booking just like it's 2006 ECW all over again and making matches right before a major PLE that we're hoping to squeeze another $30 out of you. Here we go. Okay. Who do you got in this midnight?
Well, I'll start with the first match, Punk and Jay.
No. You'll start with Stratton and Cargill. We'll work our way up.
Honestly, my guess,
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know if they're ready really to push Jade to the moon just yet. And I still think they're gonna wait till like a WrestleMania to push Jade. So I'm gonna go with Tiffany.
So they might not have a choice because apparently she may have scuffed her knee up during SmackDown, and they're mentioning she's getting checked out, but she had said, I am not missing Saturday night's main event. To be honest, I don't care. They threw this match together. I know Jade hasn't won a title in 500 plus days she's been in WWE, and Tiffany Stratton has got the rocket strap to her. She did lose at Crown Jewel against the other female with the rocket strap to her, Stephanie Vakir. Will she eat another loss? If she was 100% healthy, I would say absolutely not. I think Jade doesn't lose anything by losing here. She could still win the Women's Rumble and go on to WrestleMania in a big moment. But I think Jade's going to take it. I think that this match will open the show, and they'll get a big pop for doing this. Congratulations. Anything could happen in Saturday night's main event, but I don't care. I think it's going to move. All right. Next up, CM Punk versus Jey Uso. This has got some heat and controversy here. What do you got?
The Vision is going to interfere in this match somehow. My guess is that they're going to probably screw over Punk and put the belt on Jay, and then set up some type of Punk LA Knight Jay type situation with the Vision kind of like messing everything up to like get that hot air balloon heat. You just slowly build that balloon over time. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't, it's not going to be clean one way or another. Um, my only concern about this match is if Jay can hang with Punk and kind of let Punk drive the ship on this match to at least make it an interesting match up until we get our, schmoz finish, so to speak. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Well, they wrestled 2 weeks ago on Raw for the number one contender, and Punk beat them clean. So honestly, like I don't foresee this being any better. Jay's gonna have to bring it. He's gonna have to prove himself to be world champion material. If anything, 100%, he's gonna win the match and walk away. Maybe not win the match, but he will walk out of that arena with the belt around him, because I think it makes more sense to slow build Punk that WrestleMania victory. I know they don't have a lot of guys left to put this belt on. They're bleeding stars, but like, where the fuck is Gunther? You haven't seen. Is he injured? Like, there's a perfect person to intermix in this feud right now, because he's beaten Jay, took that belt right back off of him. Like, slap him around a bit. Bring him, get some heat that way. But I don't foresee Punk winning this. There's no reason for him to win this belt right now, other than the fact they're trying to draw more. Like, if they were afraid about buy rates and they're worried about numbers, I totally see ESPN like, you put that fucking belt on Punk, give the people what they want. Honestly, no, I'm dead serious. Yeah. Like, it feels like that's the kind of move they're gonna say shit like that, and I hate think about it that way, but we could totally start seeing that with these broadcast companies who are on it. It's like, you need to do this because that's what the fans want. And WWE's like, let us do our product. I'm like, no. But yeah, I think we both are in agreement on this one that Jay is going to win. Definitely, interference or not, something's going to happen. I think it's more likely that this match has the interference in it. Of all, you can't do interference and all. I say that, but this is WWE. All right, moving on. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. 3 times in a life. They fought in like 3 pay-per-views in a row, haven't they now?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're going with marquee, and they know these guys are going to deliver a good match. So it's kind of like, okay, like this is like the time Gabe Sapolsky needed a main event for Ring of Honor, and he booked Bryan Danielson versus Samoa Joe because it was like the best 2 guys he can throw up there and there was no feud, no buildup. It was just, I got to put 2 guys in there, and that's kind of what they're doing here. Put Cody in there, put Drew in there. It's going to be a good match. End the feud. Cody gets his hand raised. I mean, there's really no reason to take the belt off of him right now. If you're going to take the belt off of Cody, they'll probably do it at the Rumble. But then again, if you take the belt off of him, are you going to give it back to him at Mania, or does he? I don't know. Something's telling me that because of Seth Rollins going down, that they're going to keep the belt on Cody and have Punk and Cody go at it at WrestleMania for night 2 main event. I don't know. I'm just tinfoil hatting it right now, but do you see any way that they take the title off of Cody on Saturday night's main event?
I absolutely believe Drew McIntyre on next week.
Really?
I absolutely believe Drew McIntyre will get his hand raised. Honestly, there's a lot of factors going into it. I feel like this match is going to have interference in it. Why? Because we're going to find out who really injured Fatu. And who do you think done it, Midnight? Because I'll give you a hint. RKO. It's the only wrestler on the roster to this. They've hinted at it by the combos him and Cody's been having. He hasn't been on any major show since his last match with John Cena. What, a Backlash? They haven't been using him. This is the ultimate opportunity to build this up. SmackDown is bleeding for talent right now. And I absolutely believe Drew McIntyre is the guy. He's got the look. He's got aura. He's got presence. Solid on the mic. He draws heat like no one else. finisher I love. I didn't like it at first because he had to do it 600 times to get it over, but now that he's minimizing it and doing it like maybe once or twice per match, it's really helped him out a lot. And Drew should absolutely capitalize on it. They need better heels on both shows to get your faces over so that they can chase, and when they win, it's become a monumental victory. If Drew loses this match, it is more of a detriment than if Cody loses. And I say this because the original plans were speculated for Drew winning at the ESPN WrestlePalooza show. And Randy Orton was meant to interfere in that. I think, that got screwed up, and they said, okay, well, let's change plans a little bit. Let's get Drew over and let's push him to the moon, because him with the belt does more for the product right now than Cody does. And I'm not saying Cody's a bad draw or anything like that, but it's better television to watch your hungry white meat face chase that monstrous, nasty villain who now can wade interference, can now run away, can do stuff to screw with Cody Rhodes, put those roadblocks up that when he overcomes them makes him look like more of a monumental star he's ever been. It'll do nothing but benefit Cody. So I don't think him losing here is a detriment. I think Drew McIntyre winning is the best course of action, and I absolutely see him winning. Sorry,
That's interesting because I don't see it, especially on Saturday night's main event. I would assume they would rather do it on a P. Like if they were gonna do it, they would have done it once again. I felt like at the Rumble or something, or maybe even Survivor Series. So I just don't know, but it's definitely a good point. It's definitely a good story. We'll see what happens.
And speaking of that, a lot of people are very salty that LA Knight didn't get his opportunity to wrestle CM Punk, despite, honestly, it probably being a better marquee pay-per-view or PLE match, Punk versus LA Knight. But I think the reason they did that is because Punk, whoever is taking the belt at Saturday night's main event, and it's not going to be Punk. Punk is definitely losing, but I don't know if you've seen it. I want you to watch this, because this guy's a YouTuber. He goes into quite the diatribe about this.
We had the Royal Fumble, and now we have the Fumble Royal. Triple H said, good things come to those who wait, and we have been waiting for so damn long. This would have been a very good little feud going into Saturday night's main event, and it would have made it a lot more interesting than seeing Jey Uso, the guy who got pinned, by the way, in the Triple Threat #1 Contenders match. Let's not forget that. Jey Uso was the one that got pinned. He got his fucking grills knocked out, and instead, he's the one that now gets the shot against CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. What the fuck is that? LA Knight could be a transitional champion. Just give him the shot. And people were like, oh, LA Knight is the new generation's Dolph Ziggler. No, the fuck he's not. And you know why? Because Dolph Ziggler won a World Heavyweight Championship. He got a Money in the Bank contract. He got chances. He didn't get shit. He's barely got the fucking U.S. title. We've had the Yes Movement. We've had the fucking Kofi Mania. Where is the Yeah Revolution? Where is it?
All right, let's dissect this a bit, okay? I want to make this very clear. LA Knight is a clown, and so are his fucking fans, okay? This guy gets pushed to the moon by the IWC because they like the way he looks and talks, but he can't work shit in the ring. Look at, I don't like Dave Meltzer as much as the next guy, but if you look at his wrestle cards and his ratings for the match, this bitch doesn't have a 4-star match. This bitch only has one 4-star singles match in his entire WWE career. You can't put a championship belt on a guy like that unless he's mega over and super popular. He's got charisma and aura out the ass, and LA Knight doesn't have it. And I'd also like to point out, he even mentions let him be a transitional champion. You know what? No, not because you want it, because that'll make you LA Knight fans bitch even more. Because if they put it on him and take him on him a week later, he goes, oh, give him a chance, let him have the belt longer, you didn't let him have it longer, and you'll still fucking complain, because that's what you do. You only want to see your guy win. You don't understand the bigger picture, and you don't realize that this schleb of a wrestler is never going to make it as a proper main event top star because of his work in the ring. I'm sorry.
They just can't see that just because you have a catchphrase and a voice, it doesn't make you a star. It just doesn't. And the people The people know this because when they see him in the ring, there's no connection. Now, Bret Hart talks about, he says, the reason why people love Bryan Danielson so much, it's just like during the Yes Movement days, is because he gives you his heart and soul in his ring, and that his character connects. LA Knight's gimmick, his style, and his in-ring work don't connect. In the ring, he's Rob Conway, and he looks like him too. Uh, and that's the thing, right? Like you get Kurt Angle, right? His character, the Olympic gold medalist, the goofball, the wrestling machine, it all comes together. His character, his promos, his style, his in-ring work. If you can connect them all and make a go out of it, you can become a big star or at least a mainstay, right? Like just someone who's just always going to be around, like Christian, for instance, right? Had the world title once, but he's a guy that will always have a job because everything connects. Nothing connects with this guy. He's milk toast. He really is. He's just milk toast. And in the ring, I mean, he's got a catchphrase. Okay, great. Okay, he's got a cool voice. That's what charisma is, right? Charisma is how can you project your voice, and that's it. That's all he's got. And then he gets in the ring, and he's a C-level, job guy. There's just nothing special about it. Connect all of that together. Figure it out. You're supposed to be a wrestler, right? Like Bret Hart, for instance, he figured it out. Bryan Danielson figured it out. Punk figured it out. Brock figured it out. Roman Reigns finally figured it out. Took him a while, but he figured it out.
This account I'm scrolling through is called the head of the LA Knight Marks account. They've been pushing him like crazy. And after his loss at the Battle Royale for the #1 contenders, they were cheering for getting his bitch ass trending on X because they got maybe I think 1,500 posts with his tag on it or people saying the word LA Knight. People forget that fucking We Want Cross not only trended on X, but it had more. And look where his bitch ass is right now. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. I know it sucks to have a wrestler you love. You want to see him succeed. You want to see him push the move. You want to see him be that top star. I feel the same way about Attitude Era Ken Shamrock. He was my boy. He was so tough in the ring, unstoppable. But then they put that mic in front of him, and he sounded like a jabroni, and he never got pushed ever again. That killed his push, and it hurt me to see it. But I still love him, and I still understood what his position was in the company. And LA Knight, you can't build a brand or a product around this. At best, he is world title contender material. Yeah, you could put the belt on him and be happy, but guess what? Dolph Ziggler won the world title, and that bitch was wrestling dark matches on pay-per-views 8 months later, okay? It's not going to help him become a champion. It's not going to make him more loved. If anything, it's going to put a giant target on his back, and more people are going to be upset at him. So I'm sorry. You guys, you're going to have to fucking deal with it. LA Knight is not the draw or the top star you think he is, and the sooner you realize that, the sooner you're going to enjoy your product more.
Oh my God, that was a Jim Cornette level tirade there, my friend. I
don't hate LA Knight or whatever his real name is as a person. I'm looking at it over encompassing as a character. And when I hear people talk about him, and I had the world's worst first impression of him, but when you tell me a wrestler's gonna be the next Rock, you better be fucking serious about it, because The Rock is one of the greatest all fucking time. LA Knight's not even the next D'Lo Brown in comparison. Like, I don't get it.
And I hate to say it, that the name LA Knight is just kind of weird,
I don't know what it means. Like, he doesn't come out in fucking armor. There's nothing about him knighty.
He's not even from LA, is he? He's
I have no idea.
Maryland.
Yeah,
he's from fucking Maryland.
He looks like a hillbilly with that beard and his facial expressions. I mean, he's got a decent look about him, like physically imposing, but his finisher is ass. He needs to work on it. Honestly, I love the move that he does, that jumping neck breaker. He should do that should be his finisher, because it's like almost like a reverse RKO that he can pull out of anywhere or do something and snap it around, and it still looks devastating. Not the half-ass skull-crushing finale that he does. But that leads us to our main event, and something I think we really need to talk about that really drove our passion to create this show as a whole, Wrestling Is Now Shitty podcast, and it's the IWC against the marks in the arenas of WWE. Over the last 2 years, WWE ticket prices have essentially doubled. Smarks have been priced out of arenas worldwide because of this, and now you're not seeing the disparaging crowds in attendance because they can no longer afford to go. Back in the day, you'd be like, okay, hey, WWE's coming to my town. How much are tickets? Oh, $30-$40 for the top row? Yeah, I'll go over there. Why not? I'll go see a show, chant, and have a good time. That's not the audience WWE is catering to. I'm sorry. WWE doesn't give a shit about the IWC. Couldn't care less. They don't look at them anymore in the same way that they do all wrestling fans. The wrestling fans they are selling the product to, the wrestling fans that matter, are the ones in the arena paying money for those tickets and buying the merch. You could be the biggest WWE fanboy, watch every show online, you could order stuff through their website, order all the shirts you want, but you will never ever matter to them like butts in the seats. And because of this, because of the raising prices, because tickets have gotten so high, you're less likely to go pay money for a show that's going to make you mad. Like, I've seen the tickets for Raw and SmackDown. They're almost as much as pay-per-views were, like, for regular seats, like, 10, 20 years ago.
This 4 days ago, they had Raw in Sacramento, where I live, and I wanted to go to the show. I wanted to take and it was a good show too. It was a really good show, and I was stuck watching it at Netflix. I'm like, you don't think I wanted to take my kids and go to that show? But even though I could have afforded it, I could have spent the money. I had to sign my kids up for basketball, and I have to go buy them some shoes and some balls and some jerseys and stuff. So I took what I would have spent on the tickets and put it towards sports. And that's the thing that middle class people have. Those are the decisions that middle class people have to make. And I chose not to go to Raw on Monday night because of this.
And it's a decision many people have to make. The idea is that wrestling is no longer product for wrestling is a product for marks. And I mean that as for the people who are diehard. This is their passion. They don't have any other hobbies. They dig into wrestling. They are following all the podcasts. They watch everything. There's so much content about WWE going on that they just are enveloped in it. That's all they do. And these are the kind of fans WWE cater for. Why? Same reason why mobile games are successful. The whales, the people that spend the most money, have the best experience possible. Your marks in the arena don't care essentially what happens because they already paid their money to see it, so they're there to have a good time and see a good show. When was the last time we had an audience in the last 5 years treat the product like the main event at WrestleMania when it was Brock versus Roman Reigns and they're playing with a fucking beach ball in the background because they were bored out of their mind? That was back when Vince was running the show, and I know he was pissed off back then. But this is monumentally changing the facet of how the product works, because now, instead of listening to all the fans, everyone who's purchasing all your stuff around the world, they're just catering to the ones in the arena. And I think that's a bad move. And the ESPN subscriber numbers are a testament to that. Because your normal IWC fans who are just saying, okay, I could swing $30-$40 a month to watch my favorite wrestling products, but I can't spend $400 to see it in person. I'll watch it online and I'll bitch about it online. But WWE looks at it like, oh, we don't care about it. Why? What's the big reason? Well, guess what? Just like Vince back in the day didn't want to give guaranteed money to his wrestlers, now WWE has got guaranteed money from Netflix and from ESPN. Yep. Doesn't matter what they put on, as long as they put butts in the arena and sell them shirts and get them boys yeeting up and down, back and forth. It looks like a good product, but it's not actually a good product. They are living in a false delusion. And people like us who are quote unquote smarks, I don't like to consider myself that, but in the grand scheme of things, that's what we are. And looking at it, it's like, I know now I can probably never go see another live WWE. And honestly, that makes me sad, because if they were in the cards, I would have bought tickets to go see WrestlePalooza. I think it would have been fun seeing Cena versus Brock Lesnar, because I'd never seen Brock Lesnar perform live. Or Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. That was a phenomenal match. Had a wonderful time. Or CM Punk and AJ. That would have been great to see a match like that. I would have gladly paid $100, $200 for seats in the middle row for that. That's totally fine.
That's a fair price.
When the last live show I went to was the Royal Rumble 2013, because it was here in Arizona, and for second section up in the back, we paid $100 for those seats, and that was fair. The front row seats I think were $500, which is a increase from
inflation.
But I got my $100 worth. It was a Royal Rumble. It's a fantastic show. I think all Rumbles are fun because you get to see all the entrances. It's a spot fest. It's the best gimmick match in wrestling history. Just absolutely fun to watch. But I don't know. What's your take on the Smart versus Mark thing?
Well, I think that I think it's important to know that the people that are attending the shows, I don't know if the crowds in the shows are going to be the true arbiters of what's actually good in the product. And that's my biggest concern, is that everyone's going to think it's great. It's like this illusion that, like, for instance, right? Like, do you think that Ford walked around and said, wow, the Ford Pinto's the greatest car ever produced because it sold the most, and everyone's driving one and everyone's riding around happy? It turns out they were exploding and they were just pieces of crap. Same thing with the Ford Explorer, right? Turns out they had tires that were exploding and killing people on the highways. And that's what I think is going to happen, is that sooner or later there's going to be a bubble burst. I think the bubble's already starting to burst. I think we're on a downward trend. I think we're 2001. This smells like 2001 all over again, where WWE had just gotten a new TV deal with TNN. They had ousted their competition, which they kind of have with TNA. They've kind of bought in their competition, and they're swallowing everything up. But you're going to get this really low period where it's not going to look good, but it looks good, but it's not good. So that's my concern. Is I think that there needs to be more diversity in the audience who attends your shows, because a lot of these people that are middle class, they're going to look at the product differently than just some whale who's there to take a selfie and cheer when they're supposed to, right? Because they're just there to have a good time, right? Like, oh, I'm here to have an experience, and I'm an Instagram influencer, and I make $500,000 a year, streaming on Twitch or posting stuff on Instagram. And here I am at the show. Yay, yeet, 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 because that's what's going to get everyone to like your post, right? But it's not genuine. So that's my concern.
I think you nailed it about diversity. Yes, absolutely. Criticism helps people. If you built a house of cards, and I'm not talking about a small play house of cards. Imagine building your entire house out of cards, and then everyone around you goes, "Oh my God, what a great house! It looks so good. You did such a wonderful job. This is the best house ever. You should be proud of yourself." And you go, "Yeah, okay, this is awesome." But after a while, when that wind rolls in, knocks your house down, and you're freezing cold, and you have to start all over again, who are you gonna blame? Oh, God, stupid wind. If the wind wasn't there, my house would be perfectly fine. You'll blame everything but yourself because of other outstanding factors. At the end of the day, you need that criticism and that differing opinion to help you grow. Because look, if we got 1,000 wrestling fans from mix of in the arena and online who've never attended a show before, and had them sit down and write their opinions and take a poll, I guarantee you the way they talk about the product and everything, they'll be polar opposites. I won't say that they'll like, oh yeah, they'll agree on a lot of things and disagree on a lot of stuff. No, it'll just be completely opposite because they intrinsically take stuff differently than other fans do. And I get it. Nobody wants to be known as a fucking idiot. If you spent $10,000 to go see a wrestling show, you're going to tell everybody it was the greatest wrestling show of all time, that you happily spent your money. You'd do it again if you had another 10 grand because you don't want to look like a fool. Like, I don't think there's any show I would have been happy with spending 10 grand on. Even the best wrestling show I've ever been to, ECW One Night Stand 2006, I wouldn't pay $10,000 for the show because that's
a little steep.
Yeah, it's too much money.
But you nailed it with criticism, and I want to plug something here. So some of you guys don't know this, but our man Dr. Legend is a published author. He wrote an entire series. It's on Amazon. You can check it out, the H&M series. But Dr. Legend, you did an interview with a book, with a book blog, and one of the things they asked you was, who was your biggest critic? Dr. Legend, please explain who your biggest critic was. And
it was you fucking asshole.
But you did say something. You said, it really helped me out because he never hesitated to tell me something I was doing was crap, and it made me a better creator. Is that not true?
100% true. I think everyone needs to take, because we learn to take criticism in school. You turn in a paper and the teacher writes a big fat F on it. You want to know why you fucking failed. Like, okay, what did I do? Well, you didn't do this, and this right. I know it's getting worse now with the fucking star ratings and hurting your feelings bullshit that's going on in school. But at the end of the day, criticism helps you grow. If people keep telling you everything you do is good, you're going to have a bunch of fucking babies out there thinking the world, their shit don't stink. And that's a big problem. You're going to build LA Knight fans, and we can't have any more of those.
Where everything is awesome because he says yeah, and everyone says yeah with him. Oh, everything's just fine. Well, put him in the ring with CM Punk for 25 minutes at WrestleMania, and you're gonna stink the house up.
Yeah, that dude would be exposed. Situation. I think they don't realize it yet because they're hammered with it. Okay, well, I think that's all the time we have for this week's episode, guys. Thank you so much for and we really appreciate it, and we hope we'll see you guys back here next week for our post-Saturday night main event show. Let us know in the comments, who do you think is right about our predictions? I'm saying McIntyre. He's saying Cody. Let's see what you got. Signing off for this week, I'm Dr. Legend, as always, with Midnight. So long, guys, and we'll catch you next week.